Peter Jones, thank you so much for inviting me to the Dirty Duck.
Welcome. I wish I was there too. You're much closer to it than I am.
Well, I know it's hard to believe, but it's virtual. It's not real.
Well, as it happens, in my office is about 200 yards as the crow flies from the very place that you claim to be sitting virtually at the moment from the
Well,
from the real bricks and mortar of that pub. So,
okay, it's a great name. It deserves a great story. There must be a story behind the Dirty Duck.
I mean, aside from the fact it's very close to where I'm sitting right now, I actually worked there. When I was a teenager, when I was at school and college, and so on and off. So if you ever do need a pint badly poured, just give me a shout. Like, I'm your man. So
It's one of the things though that I think we all, maybe not all, but most of us worked in a bar at some stage. And if you want to be in customer services, or you want to understand humans, or you want to understand anything to do with human empathy, work in a bar.
nothing like bringing one down to earth by dealing with the general public frequently. That's for sure.
Yeah. And were you a barman or were you actually on the floor?
I was barman, yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
not
So
very talented in that department, but I kept people fed and watered.
no, and I was in Doncaster last week with Russ from Vertiv, and he was explaining to me that about the long pulling handles, a lot of skill needed to get a pint. All our stuff is regulated, so I mean we're obviously way ahead of the beer settling science.
Oh, so you're already starting a debate about mass-produced, pasteurized, strong continental lager versus real ale. You really know how to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, Gary. I'll give you that.
I wasn't really going that path, but now that you seem to have some knowledge about it, would you know the difference? You would.
Well, here in Dublin, it all costs you a tenner a pint anyway, so you don't really need to worry.
It doesn't matter. You don't even get to keep the glass.
Right,
So,
there you go.
question for you. So, you're writing a book. There must be a book in you. What's it all about?
This is the one I could talk about, or the PG rated one is the one you're after.
This could be a family show, and I reckon that we should stick to the one that you'd probably want for mass distribution, Peter.
Um, that's probably something I'm feeling a lot at the moment, and I'm not sure if it's a product of we've been really missing the conference scene, which I think is a big part of our industry. We're an industry of humans who like getting together and enjoying ourselves, and I think a lot of the virtual type conferences, you get a lot of the jargon without a lot of the plain talk debrief afterwards.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of feeling a bit overloaded at the minute by jargon, kind of complexity, perceived kind of notions about our industry. And I suppose if I was to write a title now on a sheet of paper, I'd probably say something like "Simple is beautiful," and as the advocacy for less jargon, more plain speaking, uh, saying we don't know when we don't know, rather than making bold predictions about industries we aren't even in. I've fallen into the trap myself, so I'm not completely innocent, but it would be completely out of my sphere of expertise or purview to be making long binding predictions about the future of edge or cloud uptake rates in any particular part of the world. But I think there's a certain fear that I've seen in the industry a little bit of that there's almost a bit of one-upmanship in the sense that once the jargon starts, it's hard to pull back from because it's a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I suppose my advocacy, and it's a bit of a message to myself as much as anyone else, is speak plainly more often, say when you don't know. There's more glory in that in anything but the very short run, for us all. And I think if we all did a bit more plain speaking, we'd be better off as an industry.
Here's the interesting thing in my observation is I've been in and around you for quite some time, and I have a sense that you know actually what you're talking about to a level, right? So you're comfortable with that possible chat. And this is the same in soccer and everything, Those that know very little about it tend to know all the terms because it's like a moat that's around them that protects them somehow, is it? And it's not just in this
Mm,
industry. It's in most
yeah,
industries.
I mean, I know you've got strong feelings about our favorite kind of 3-letter acronyms or acronyms in general. I suppose some of them exist for a reason because you can get your message across faster.
Yeah.
And you can, when it's the minimum effective dose to make yourself understood, that's one thing. When it's into jargon that frankly no one understands, and it's almost some inferred, not intellectual superiority, but I know the definition of this one that you don't, and the burden is on you to ask me. I don't know. I find it a bit distasteful. So
No, you're right, and we'll finish off on this one by saying I remember a guy in Dell 20 years ago saying everyone thinks outside of Ireland that JIT stands for just in time, and it was the process by which they used to make stuff. Do they not realize it's actually called Jesus? It's there.
yeah.
If you ask them behind the question, maybe you get 40 different answers. So you're usually not in any one place for very long. You're doing a lot of stuff everywhere. Um, you've been in pretty much one place for the last 12 months. How are you staying as sprightly as you are and motivated and up for it as they say?
I'll take the sprightly as a compliment. I mean, you're right. I typically I am on the road, at least 2 weeks of the month, various parts of the world, wherever I need to be. I stay motivated now. I think someone gave me a really good observation recently, which was, I think there is a lot more press around well-being and so on. And someone made a really good observation to me, actually directly off the back of traveling, was saying, well, it's not necessarily the grand moments where you take half a day or a day and you go off and do something, by design, relaxing. This person made an observation to me, well, think about a day when you're traveling where you have forced downtime, even if it's just going through security. Now, going through security in an airport, not famous for being the most relaxing thing in the world, but it's an enforced time when you're, by definition, you're not on your phone, you're not on your laptop, you're amongst other humans, for good or for bad. But nonetheless, there are these micro moments that punctuate the day normally, be it traveling, be it in an office, where it is physically impossible for you to be online, engaged like this. And this person's point to me was, rather than the big grand moments, few and far between, is the thing that's really grinding on people this collection of multiple hundreds of micro moments a week of relaxation, which the thought had never occurred to me, but it did resonate quite strong with me when I heard it. And so I thought, what's keeping me at the minute is trying to get more of those 2, 3, 5 minutes and collect those up through the week, rather than okay, I'm going to take a morning off or an afternoon off and go and do something really very intentionally wellness, driven or something like that.
And isn't it so true, getting back to your first answer earlier and getting back to events and human intercourse and all this type of stuff, is that when we went to the events, it was the downtime, meeting someone, getting to know how their football team did, or this, that, and the other. That's the bit actually that we remember, not the 3-letter acronym up on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's humans make deals, humans make projects, humans make things happen. I mean, you're right. It's exactly that what we're all about. And I think, the human component as well. And something I've had to learn is being a bit more selfish and brutal in the calendar.
Oh.
I'm a big boy. No one's going to come around and tell me when I got to take a break. But, I need to take responsibility for that as well and be like, okay, if it isn't in the calendar, that slot is open for someone to go and take. So be a bit more, in the absence of a better word, be a bit more selfish and make the time, because, no one else is going to make it for you.
Well, Peter and the Dirty Duck, it was sharp, short, but sweet. Thank you so much.
Cheers, Gary. Appreciate it.